Okay, today we're going to do Unit 2, Notes number 5, which is our negative exponent rule. So we're going to do a little investigation for our negative exponent rule. It says fill in the following tables using your calculator. Convert to fraction answers using your math key. So we should know how to do that. So 4 squared, we put that in a calculator, or 2 squared is going to be 4. 2 to the first is going to be 2. 2 to the 0 is going to be 1. 2 to the negative 1 is going to be 1/2. And 2 to the negative 2 is going to be 1/4. So kind of think about what's happening there. So let's go over the next one. 3 squared is going to be 9. 3 to the first is going to be 3. 3 to the 0 is 1. 3 to the negative 1 is going to be 1/3. 3 to the negative 2 is going to be 1/9. So kind of look at what our pattern is. Next one, we're going to do a fraction and we're going to square it. So 1/2 squared is 1/4. 1/2 to the first is 1/2. 1/2 to the 0 is 1. 1/2 to the negative 1 is 2. And 1/2 to the negative 1 is 2. 1/2 to the negative 2 is 4. So look at what's happening. Anytime we have a negative exponent, that number to that power goes on the bottom. And whenever we have a fraction, we have a negative exponent, that number goes to the top and it gets squared. So with this, we have to think what is happening on our exponent rules. So this one is called our negative exponent rule. And we are going to talk about what exactly happens with that each time. Hold on just a second, you guys. Okay, so our negative exponent rule, I'm going to write this down. Sorry, I thought there was a box. I was looking for the exact rule. So our negative exponent rule states, sorry, you guys have to write all this down. Any term raised to a negative exponent is the reciprocal, which means the opposite of that term with a positive exponent. So whatever our base is, we're going to have to flip it in order for that exponent to become positive. And we never want a negative exponent. Okay, so if you need a positive to get it down, get that down. So our first one, we have x to the negative a. So this x we're going to flip. So we're going to do 1 over x. And that x is now going to be to the a power. So that a becomes positive whenever I flip it. Okay, our next problem, we have 5x to the negative third times negative 2x to the negative fifth. So we're going to apply our product rule first. So 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Then our x's, we add our exponents and we get negative 8. We don't want this negative here. So I keep my negative 10 And then I move my x to the bottom of the fraction bar so that it can become positive 8. Number 3. Okay, so this is our power rule. So I got to distribute this 3. Get negative 5 to the negative third and x to the 12th because negative 4 times 3 is 12. So I don't want this negative exponent. So the x to the 12th can stay on the top. And then the negative 5 to the third, that 3 becomes positive, goes to the bottom. So I'm going to get x to the 12th over negative 125, which is negative 5 cubed. Okay, next example. So I have 3 to the negative third on the bottom. So I'm going to move it to the top. So it comes 3 to the third, which equals 27. Next one. So the x to the negative a is my only negative exponent. So y to the b stays there, and then x to the a gets moved to the bottom. That's a lot of letters, but don't worry. Okay, next problem. Okay, so this is our power rule. So there's a 1 here, so I got to distribute this exponent to each exponent. So I'm going to get 2 to the negative 1, a to the negative third, and b to the second. So then any of my negative exponents need to go to the bottom of my fraction bar. So my b to the second stays on the top. 2 to the first stays on the top, goes to the bottom, and a to the third goes to the bottom so that they can become positive. Okay, let's go on to the back page. Let me know if you guys have any questions on the front. Okay, so this is where we're going to apply our quotient rule first. We're going to do 6 minus 4, which equals 2. Z, you're going to have 1 minus 3, which equals negative 2 for y. And then for z, you're going to have 3 minus 5, which also equals negative 2. So both of these negative exponents, I want to move to the bottom. So we're going to get x to the second. That's going to stay on top because it's positive. And the y to the second and the z to the second are going to move to the bottom. Okay, next one. 6 divided by 2 is 3. X, 4 minus 4 is 0, so that cancels. Z, y is just going to stay on the bottom. And then z's 5 minus 6 is negative 1. So the only thing that needs to change is this z needs to go to the bottom. So 3 stays on top, and I get y to the second, z to the first. And that is my answer. Okay, next one is where we have to solve. So we have 1, 5 to the second. So that means I need to do 1 over 5 to the second, which equals 1 over 25. So then I simplify. So let's just start looking at these. Has to be a positive 1 over 25. So it can't be the first one. Can't be negative 10. Can't be negative 25. So this one I know is a solution. This one, 5 squared is 25, so that is 1 over 25, which is the same. And then our last one, 5, since the negative exponent has to get flipped to the top, so it become 5 to the second. So that one is not an option, because it would be 25. So those are our two options. Okay, let's kind of review this. Are negative exponents okay? No, I always want a positive. To get rid of the exponent, what happens? We flip, so to get rid of our negative exponent, we have to flip the base. So remember, if it's on the bottom of our fraction, we flip it to the top and vice versa, and only the exponent becomes positive. And do we flip bases with positive exponents? No, we just leave them how they are. Okay, you guys are going to get started on your homework. We're going to kind of review this tomorrow, and we're going to talk about our last rule. Let me know if you guys have any questions.